Following a serious incident where numerous workers sustained severe injuries, the factory staff stormed into the offices seeking justice because their employer had refused to acknowledge responsibility. The situation escalated into violence, with employees vandalizing office property. When the police eventually arrived, there was resistance from the employees, leading to Mihao physically assaulting an officer. Subsequently, additional officers intervened, subdued Mihao, and arrested him. The video capturing Mihao's arrest remains online, with teenagers finding amusement in it. This triggers a strong reaction from Mia's daughter, Selma, who retaliates by smearing a classmate's face with horse excrement. Elise, Selma's mother, is left unsure about how to handle the situation after a conversation with the headmaster. Since her parents' divorce and Mihao's incarceration, Selma has been acting out. Recently, Mihao was released from jail, but is now under house arrest with an ankle monitor. One night, while staying with her father, Selma watches the news and discovers that in Latin America, an extraordinarily acidic rain caused by pollution and global warming has claimed the lives of thousands of wild animals. The following night, heavy rain begins, catching Elise off guard when she realizes Selma left her bedroom window open. Quickly, she places a towel on the floor to address the water issue and, exhausted, falls asleep on her daughter's bed, unaware that the towel is starting to lose its color. The next day, although it's not raining, the sky remains overcast and people anxiously monitor the news as sporadic rain continues to appear across the country. Meanwhile, at work, Mihao observes that the wet ground has an unusual consistency, prompting him to take notice of the strange weather phenomena. At that moment, Mihao receives a call from Elise expressing concern about the unusual rain problem and wanting to pick up Selma from school early. However, upon reaching the school, they discover that the class has gone for a horse ride and the students left their phones behind. Determined to find Selma, they set out on the road to the forest, only to encounter a traffic jam caused by other worried parents who had the same idea. Dark clouds loom above the forest, intensifying the urgency of their search. Frustrated by the standstill in traffic, Mihao decides to drive off the road in a desperate attempt to reach his daughter. Meanwhile, Selma, not adept at riding, is left stranded in the forest as her classmates move ahead. When Mihao and Elise approach the forest, they realize the car cannot pass through the crowded area. Mihao abandons the vehicle and continues on foot, starting his search in the stables where the terrified horses are creating chaos. Selma, also in a rush, manages to reunite with her father. Together, they hurriedly enter the training building just before the onset of the rain. Despite some drops seeping through the holes in the ceiling burning the ground, Mihao quickly searches for blankets to shield themselves. Simultaneously, he contacts Elise to provide their location. Driving through the heavy rain affecting visibility, Elise eventually locates the building, parks outside, allowing Mihao and Selma to enter. As they return to the road, the screams of people in pain from the acid rain echo around them. Soon, they encounter another roadblock, with cars behind them witnessing their paint melting away due to the corrosive rain. The intense situation takes its toll on Selma, who succumbs to panic and has a breakdown. Seeking refuge, the family stops at the parking lot of a supermarket, grabbing clothes and blankets to shield themselves in the car. The next morning, the family resumes their journey on foot. While it's not currently raining, they join the multitude of others attempting to leave the country by foot. As the hours pass, the crowd swells in size, and upon reaching the bridge, they encounter a multitude of people and cars stuck in a gridlock. The police have intervened, restricting passage to small groups at intervals for safety. Despite this, the impatient crowd continues pushing against each other, causing Elise to become separated from her family. The crowd's intensity escalates, almost resulting in Selma being crushed. In response, the police resort to firing tear gas to force the crowd to retreat. Suddenly, the bridge emits an eerie noise, prompting the group to look up and witness its collapse. As the turmoil ensues, the railing breaks, causing some individuals, including Elise, to fall into the water where the acidic rain immediately burns her skin. Selma, witnessing her mother's plight, leaves the bridge in desperation to run to the shore, intending to rescue Elise. However, Mihao follows her and stops her just before she touches the water. Helplessly, they watch in tears as Elise's lifeless body floats away. With the bridge rendered unusable, the police direct the remaining crowd to a military base. Mihao manages to call his girlfriend, but Elise's brother remains unreachable. The crowd is then divided into military trucks, sharing the limited bottled water during the journey. Eventually, the trucks encounter a roadblock, prompting the soldiers to instruct everyone to continue on foot. Red smoke is used as a signal to ensure that nobody gets lost in the challenging journey ahead. Selma, weakened and frequently tripping, requires Mihao's assistance to stay on her feet. This results in losing the rest of the crowd, but Mihao locates a nearby tunnel. Swiftly clearing away leaves and dirt, he creates enough space for them to take cover just before the storm begins. The torrential rain saturates the tunnel, melting the dirt and prompting Mihao and Selma to keep moving in the dark. Mihao slips and falls, causing some acidic humidity to make him bleed. After a challenging journey, they finally find the tunnel exit once the rain subsides, but Miho's phone is dead, leaving them unable to call for help. Despite their exhaustion, they continue traveling for hours until they reach a few houses. Unfortunately, no one responds to their desperate knocks. Fatigued and in pain, Mihao collapses on the ground. In desperation, Selma cries out in the middle of the street, pleading for help. When Mihao regains consciousness, he discovers they are inside one of the houses belonging to Deborah and her son. Deborah, displaying kindness, shares some bottled water and clean clothes with Mihao and Selma. However, she declines to share her limited food supply, explaining that she only has enough for herself and her son. While exploring the house, Selma discovers a room marked by acid stains containing a peculiar machine protected by plastic. Deborah intervenes just before Selma touches it, emphasizing its importance for her son's dialysis. In a gesture of gratitude, Mihao volunteers to help Deborah move the machine downstairs to shield the boy from the acidic environment. Appreciative of his assistance, Deborah agrees to share some food and allows them to stay for the night. Later, Mihao borrows an axe to attempt entry into the neighbor's house. However, the looming dark clouds force him to hurry back before making any progress. As the storm intensifies outside, Deborah realizes the house won't withstand the harsh conditions. Faced with a difficult decision, she chooses to secure the safety of her son and unlocks the door to Mihao and Selma's room without their knowledge. Mihao, prioritizing safety, opts to sleep in the garage. Once settled, Deborah goes to lie down with her son, singing him to sleep while awaiting the inevitable. Soon, various spots around the house begin to melt, especially the water taps. The paint stains the walls like blood, and a dreadful smoke emanates from the heater. Awakened by the disintegration of the house, Mihao and Selma attempt to check on their hosts, only to discover the door is locked. Toxic fumes begin to fill the room, reaching Deborah and her son. Reluctant to abandon their new friends, Mihao pushes Selma into Deborah's car before opening the garage and driving away. In the darkness, Mihao struggles to drive fast with only the front lights as a guide. The car, electrically powered, experiences system failures, and the computer voice repeatedly announces the breakdowns, eventually forcing the car to stop for the passenger's safety. Mihao resorts to hitting the car to make it work again and continues driving without a specific destination. After hours of traveling with no rain, they find themselves surrounded by open fields, prompting Mihao to stop the car. Someone attempts to make Mihao admit that he's lost, resulting in him snapping and yelling at her before abruptly getting out of the car. Shortly afterward, Mihao's leg starts burning, prompting him to return to the car only to find Selma gone. She struggles to run away due to the burning ground and ultimately climbs onto a sinking structure to escape. Hearing Selma scream, Mihao drives toward her, but the car begins sinking in the mud, forcing him to continue on foot. Reaching Selma just in time, Mihao carries her on his back despite his severely burnt legs. They manage to return to the car and climb on top of it, where Mihao eventually passes out. The following morning, Selma wakes up to the sound of a truck and discovers that the military has arrived to rescue them. Both are taken to a safe shelter, where Mihao receives medical care. Selma inquires about her uncle, but he is not found in any shelter databases. They do, however, learn the unfortunate news of Mihao's girlfriend's death. When Selma is finally permitted to see her father, she offers him comfort and decides not to share the tragic news about her uncle just yet. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.